Good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Rockerbox TV. My name is Josh Cunningham. I'm the founder and CEO here at Rockerbox, and I'm joined today by one of our ramp-up coaches, Zach Stevens. How's it going, Zach?
Going great, Josh. Living the dream over here.
Good to hear. So today's topic is going to be inspecting what you expect, and that's why we decided to bring Zach, one of our ramp-up coaches, on the session to kind of talk about what is your system for following up with your internet leads, and how often are you inspecting that system? Which is really one of the reasons why we started Ramp Up here at Rockerbox. Ramp Up, of course, stands for the Rockerbox Agent Mastery Program with Unlimited Potential, and it's designed exactly for that. So, Zach, why don't you just give us a quick review of exactly what system we will be inspecting, and then we'll talk a little bit more about some of the benefits that come from having regularly scheduled conversations with your team about inspecting what you expect.
Sure. So the Rockerbox system is basically a system where we will respond to all of your inbound registrations within 5 minutes. And we're also going to follow up with them over the first 21 days if we're not able to get in touch with them on that first system, all with the goal of taking off of your plate that automatic response to your online leads that come through and improving your efficiencies and allowing you to focus your time on more high value producing activities. We'll also follow up with them over the long term in order to make sure that we're taking them to a close, nice handoff to your team once they're ready to buy within the next 90 days. And that way you're only dealing with leads that are really ready to go, those A and B buyers, so you can spend the rest of your time focusing on other income producing activities.
So that's basically the system that we follow here at Rockerbox. And most other ISA or an outsourced ISA, where you have the agents handling leads, that first cycles basically take all those registrations and dwindle them down to the actual people that are motivated, interested in speaking with an agent, someone who has local market expertise, someone who's previewing property, someone who's writing contracts, someone who can actually help them negotiate, submit an offer, and find their dream home. So that's, again, call them immediately, call them a whole bunch of times, and stay in touch with them until they're ready actually to move forward. And so we've done that work here at Rockerbox for over 4 years and handled over 500,000 registrations. And again, what we've learned from that is no matter how much work you do into identifying that opportunity, they're still not a client of yours until you have them signing that buyer representation agreement. And so a couple of years ago, we actually started this program called Ramp Up, and we wanted to help agents take the ball to the complete end zone and get these deals to the close. And so we were doing all this work for different teams, and and having people come to us and saying, what more do I need to do? And so here were some of the things that we kind of jotted down as very, very important to identify after you've done all this work, after you teed up all these hot opportunities, is what are you doing with the leads at that point? So what would be one of the first questions, Zach, you would ask me if I said, I'm super frustrated, my agents have all these hot leads, but they're not closing in them. What do I need to be doing better?
How often are you meeting with your team? And how are you holding everyone accountable to the system? And do you have a system in place to inspect what you're expecting?
Exactly. And so what we recommend on an agent to a team leader conversation is you should at least be meeting with your agents weekly and reviewing their pipeline and understanding what exactly activities are taking place in the platform. Our Ramp Up program, which we're going to dive into a little bit later, is as a monthly interaction with our team. So we're going to give you some tips on how to make the most of those Ramp Up sessions. But again, just because the work's being done on your ISA front and the leads are being handed off to your agents, there still need to be some more communication and conversations going back and forth. So again, we would ask, how frequently are you meeting with your team, and what system are you coaching? So have you laid out what the expectations are of what you want to be done with a lead once it's been transferred over, and of course, most importantly, what are the consequences that happen to the agent if they're not fully meeting those expectations? So, Zach, you're one of our Ramp Up coaches. You work with our clients every single month, and you get to dive in these accountability meetings with our clients. What would you say are some of the benefits that you're seeing right now in the Ramp Up program, or if you were to create something similar to this, within your own team? But again, we're meeting with people and we're sitting down, we're reviewing their pipeline. What are some of the benefits that you're seeing from these frequent meetings?
Well, Josh, what it really all comes down to is establishing a culture of accountability. And that's both from a lateral sense where the agents can hold each other accountable, and also from a vertical sense, where you can be helping manage your agents and keeping everyone accountable to following the system that you've put into place. And you know what actually happens is many clients will schedule our monthly sessions to coincide directly after their weekly meetings. So it's very important to have your weekly sales review meetings with your team. And then it's a very nice follow-up to that. That way everyone's already in the office and we can go over even some of the things that were covered during your meeting. And it just helps everyone get a higher sense of accountability to each other and to themselves as well.
That's great. So again, as a team leader, I should be reviewing the leads with my agents. But what are some maybe some of the things that you've seen in your ramp up sessions that after a thorough review of someone's pipeline, maybe a lesson learned or some of the benefits that that we receive being in this group video chat?
So a benefit of being in the group video chat, you know, it's a mastermind. Everyone can share things that they're doing that, you know, you might have your secret sauce here, but you kind of want to share that with everyone on the team because it's a team effort. And we also internally, you know, with your team, you can share your best practices, but we also we work with teams all across the country, coast to coast, and we identify best practices that they're using to convert their leads at a higher level. And so, you know, for example, a kind of an outcome of this, we're working with a client out of Wisconsin who actually last year did 340 transactions. So running at a pretty strong pace. But this year through August, they're actually have already done 330 transactions. Wow. So they're on pace to just knock the last year's numbers out of the park. And they are absolutely crushing it. And we love seeing that success and riding that wave of success with them.
And I remember when they joined us at the end of last year that they were generating a ton of leads and just throwing them right at the agent. But again, not only was the work not getting done of calling the lead instantly and calling them several times, but again, there was a lack of bringing the agents together and giving them an opportunity to share best practices and be not only vertically accountable, but accountable to their peers as well. And so I do remember when they came on, that was one of the gaps that was missing within the organization. That's awesome to hear that here we are with still 4 months left in the year, and it looks like they're absolutely going to crush their numbers from last year. So that's really exciting. What are some of the other things that you've seen? Maybe, again, you know, your perspective from your team is what you see from within, but the benefit of working with our ramp up coaches is they get to work with all the different teams that Rockerbox supports. So what's maybe another tip that you've learned from one client and you've shared with other clients and you've seen some continued success with?
Sure. On one of our actual calls that we were on a ramp up session, we learned that one of our clients is doing something called double calling. Which is actually a pretty neat strategy where they'll get on the phone, they'll call somebody, and then they'll hang up when it goes to voicemail before they actually leave a message, and they'll call them right back. So in the lead's mind, it's changing like, oh, you know, they just see a phone number that's coming through, but now, oh, they're calling me twice. They must know who I am, and they pick up. And they go through the scripting and say, hey, you know, just wanted to catch you. Accidentally got disconnected before we left the voicemail. So if you're too busy, I'll just leave a voicemail real quick. But other than that, you know, how can I help you in your home buying process? And kind of gives you an easy end to that conversation to improve their contact rates. And they have seen significantly improved contact rates. And we've rolled that out to other teams across the country and given them that advice. So that's a team out of California, but, you know, it works just as well in California as it does in Nebraska, as it does in Florida. You know, all across the country, everyone can use these tips.
Yeah, and it's nice that we get to learn about things like that, working with so many different teams. But again, the idea is, you know, here we've just handed off this really, really hot lead from our Rockerbox call center behind me. We've handed off this hot lead, and now it's in the agent's hands. We know that this is a prime opportunity, and if you don't win the business, somebody else in the MLS is. And so people talk about how aggressive they should be in their calling. Yeah, again, one of our clients shared with us that he'll call that first time. If they don't answer, he calls again one more time. And again, the only hesitation there, the only fear that people have is, oh, I don't want to bother them, right? So let's say they do pick up the phone and they are maybe a little bit flustered, a little bit angry. They want to know who in the heck you are, what in the heck you want to do. Like Zach said, oh, I'm so sorry. I was just going to leave a voicemail since I didn't on my last call. But while I've got you on the phone, and then you start your conversation. So it's a great way to kind of let their guard down. And again, demonstrate that you're willing to work hard for their business, right? That's That's what people want to see in today's real estate market, in today's instant gratification society, is that, we're here to deliver people, what it is that they need in a timely manner, and show them that they're very important and that their business is very important for us to actually earn, and not just sit back and wait to take the order. So that's awesome to get to work with so many different teams, Zach. And I know you get to see, all the different subcultures within the country that we work with. But you're right. Things work on the East Coast that work on the West Coast, and it's kind of fun to share some of those strategies. So, what would you say is another benefit that you've seen? I know that our original client, Spring Benson out of Salt Lake, Utah, she was actually one of the biggest influences we had in creating this ramp up program, because her team is growing rapidly and she's always bringing new agents on the team. And so it felt like we were always playing a little bit of catch up with the new agents on the team. So we actually made a permanent video course online that we can enroll any of your new agents into. So Zach, why don't you talk a little bit more about the training library that Ramp Up provides, as well as the continued sessions?
Sure. And, that training library that we've actually created with all the videos, that's only the beginning as far as what we can provide to you. We have recorded sessions of every single Ramp Up session that your team has ever been on, and we provide those links back to you so you can hold them and build out your own ever-growing training library. And that way, when you bring a new agent on, you could get them right up to speed with all the coaching that all the other members on the team have received, so that they're not having to spend all the time learning the basics and, even further than the basics, a lot of the advanced strategies that we help share on our sessions. And, what we've seen is we've also heard that these training videos in the library actually is a recruiting tool as well. So when you're looking to expand your team and you're seeing that growth that we referenced earlier from some of our different clients around the country, you got to bring more agents on, right? And how do you get them incorporated into the system so that they're going to be running efficiently and effectively? And that's what you can provide, all of these videos, the training courses, everything. We have, hours upon hours of content, so that they can get themselves right back up to speed and hit the ground running from day one.
Yep. I like to kind of think of it as, let's say someone's brand new to real estate, or they're just brand new to your team. By having this permanent ramp up session library, it's very similar to someone being introduced to a new Netflix series, but they're already on season 3 and they've got the last 2 seasons that they need to watch. They can literally jump on YouTube and binge watch, just like they would a Netflix show. They can binge watch the last 2 seasons, so to speak, and get caught back up, so that they're a brand new employee. They could literally spend a week and binge watching all the sessions and walk in the office on Monday and be able to walk the walk and talk the talk of where everybody's at in this online lead generation game. So it's not like they're speaking Greek and everybody else is speaking Italian. So again, training libraries, we know that's a huge tool when it comes to recruiting. Because more and more brokerages and more teams out there are looking to provide their agents more tools to make them successful faster, and that's exactly, again, what Ramp Up is here to provide. So, any last thoughts, Zach, or any last success stories or big ahas or oh yeahs that you've encountered over the last few months of Ramp Up sessions?
Well, something that we get all the time, I do want to close with this, Josh, is so many people. This is talking about the Rockerbox system as a whole. And Ramp Up is a core component of that. So many people tell us, they come back and say, wow, before Rockerbox, I was having to worry about always being on call with these leads. Someone jumps on, at this time in the middle of the day, I'm on a showing, and then all of a sudden I can't talk to them for over an hour or maybe 2 hours. And then it becomes 2 days, and they're leaving all of this fruit on the vine that's just going bad. And so what they are telling us is the biggest change is they're getting their lives back. Not only are they not having to worry about always being on call, but also it allows them to focus into the highest income producing activities that they can possibly perform. You guys know, you're real estate agents, your lives are all over the place, very chaotic at work. And we help bring some order and some organization to that in order to help you target and close more deals.
Exactly. So basically the idea here is the deals are still going to be just as difficult to win because you have to sell yourself. You have to convince someone why they want to invest in you, and investing in the largest transaction of their life for most people. And you still have to sell yourself. But our goal here at Rockerbox is to make sure that you're getting your at bats with strikes down the strike zone, actual legitimate opportunities for you to actually sell yourself to. And like Zach says, that completely discards all that other wasted time and shuffling through the Mickey Mouses and the Scooby Doos. So again, at Rockerbox, it's all about having a system to take all those registrations and identify those real opportunities. And then at that point, there's then your system to take those real opportunities and turn them into a client. That's what we're here at Ramp Up to do, is help you review your pipeline, help bring together your team and create a mastermind environment, create peer accountability, and then also create a permanent library of all these best practices. So that's pretty much all we got for you today, guys. Again, something very, very simple that you can implement within your teams on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, but just very, very, very important for everybody to have very clear expectations as to what gets deals at the finish line, and then constant communication and feedback on how well people are doing at executing those strategies. So Zach, thanks again for joining us today. It was a pleasure having you.
Happy to be here.
And we'll see you next time, guys. Take care.
Bye, everybody.